in Missouri, if you're going to show me how to design and build, you better know what you're talking about. We've got an expert here who's going to tell us all about it. Welcome everyone to Your Little Castle Show, highlighting those leaders who are making a difference in our community. And you can see by looking at our guest today, we have somebody who knows what they're talking about and also has a heart for the community.
I do.
Welcome to our studio here, everyone. Our guest from Show Me Design and Build. She started the company, everybody. I'm going to say it right, Keelyn Schwegel. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Somebody say Schwegel, but it's Schwegel. I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
It's kind of a known name here in the St. Louis Midwest area. We have probably, what do you call it, family down the line in, what am I thinking of? Heirloom, but ancestors, heritage, yeah. Ancestors that have, were hanging out together over in Europe somewhere. So.
Somewhere over in Europe. We've all have ancestors that have hung out together.
And moved over to the New World some time ago, and so here we are. Well, with that, we'll give a shout out to Carroll House Furniture because you like nice things in your little castle. Hey, in that little castle, there's a chance these days because you've been doing this for a couple of years now with your own company. You might have been working on somebody's house that you had the work done here by Show Me Design and Build. So with that, we're going to put up on the walls. You've got a great looking website, some social media, and lots of nice things that people are saying to you. So Keelyn, welcome to the Your Little Castle Show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, when we saw the work you do and the stuff that you've got going on, and I love the fact that you do some really neat charity stuff to help. There's a lot of kids in our planet that just need a nice place and somebody that seems like they care about them, and you're doing some great stuff with that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But what led you to where you are now? Your husband's doing this in the space as an electrician for 20 years altogether.
Yeah.
And 10 years with his own company. And you said, hey, I see a need here. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So like you said, my husband has owned Show Me Electrical Services for nearly a decade. And through the evolution of that company, we saw a huge need for general contractors, specifically in the design space as it comes to, people don't really think about, even with electrical, there's got to be a plan or a design to it. Yeah, you can put can lights in, but you got to figure it all out. And in the process of doing some bigger projects, we realized a lot of people try to take on some of these bigger remodels or basement finishes, things like that themselves without a plan, and it ends up costing them more money because they don't have the plan up front.
Yeah, well, how often is it you go into life and we're just kind of by the skin of their teeth or pulled up by the bootstraps kind of method? But I think there's a famous quote from a guy named, I think it came originally from Abraham Lincoln, but it's sharpen the knife 7 times to make 1 cut. In other words, preparing, planning, making sure that everything is functional and going to be in order. But yeah, I mean, gosh, your husband would speak to that. If somebody's doing electrical work, there's definitely got to be a plan for that. Do you use a 20 amp? Do you use a 15 amp? What do you do for the breakers? And you've decided to take that now. And a woman-owned company, too.
Correct. So that was also a big need. And in the design aspect, we were helping out quite a bit. I was helping out with a lot of the electrical projects as they became more of a design project and the full picture of things, not just including the electrical subcontracting, but other things. And we were giving out a lot of advice and helping people manage their projects. And I said to Dan, we should really look into doing this. And he's like, I think you're the perfect person for this. So I didn't ever dream of being a general contractor or an owner of a construction company when I was a little girl, but it kind of fell in my lap and I've run with it and I really love it. We've been able to do some incredible things so far and I'm really excited to do more projects. But you definitely have to have a plan, especially these days, especially with permitting, codes, regulations, all of those things. I think a lot of people try to, do what they think is best, and then the county steps in, and we have some other things that come into play. Or especially in remodels, we can't see behind walls. So if we're taking things out or putting new things in, there's a lot of things that change the dynamic of the design.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've heard stories about people doing remodels and finding new rooms they didn't realize were behind a wall, and the other related things that you do find in a room. But give me a little bit more about your background.
Sure.
10 years combined doing this, And what kind of stuff did you start with that kind of got you into this?
Yeah. So a lot of it was us developing the electrical company and really figuring that out. So we own Show Me Electrical Services 50/50. And then as the electrical company grew, again, I was stepping in quite a bit with some of the contracting and design work and some of these projects. But I also am the co-director of Special Spaces St. Louis. We build dream bedrooms for kids with cancer. It's like extreme home makeover, but it's in one day and it's just for the child's bedroom. We work with a lot of the local area case managers at the hospitals to get our kiddos, but we go in and just do everything all in one day. So that requires an extreme amount of attention to detail and planning because they essentially leave in the morning and they come home to a brand new room. So that's the experience from the special spaces, and then the electrical side, helping run projects, basement finishes, kitchen remodels, and we kind of married all of that experience and started Show Me Design Build in 2024.
That all works together very well. And I've been to one of the projects for one of the kids that had cancer, and to come home, and their room is totally revamped and decorated with everything that they know they enjoy. And I think he had a basketball team, it might have been a Michael Jordan thing, but it was really neat. And boy, it put a smile on his face, because how often do our kids need something to just wake up to and feel like somebody cares about them, especially if they're going through cancer.
100%.
And so that's really neat. Now, how long have you been involved with that organization?
I've been involved for almost 15 years, but I have been the co-director for going on 11 years. So, and we've done well over 100 rooms in the St. Louis metropolitan area. Like I said, we go in one day and redo the whole room. I mean, we paint new flooring sometimes, new light fixtures, new doors, all new furniture. On average, we spend about $5,000 to $6,000 on those rooms. And the idea is to provide a place of hope and healing, and a place where they can just be kids. They spend a lot of time in the hospitals, and to have a place to come home to that feels just very comfy and safe, and a place to heal is really important. So did a lot of design work there, a lot of making sure everything comes together and we meet the needs and the dreams of these children. And then the business side of things with Show Me Electrical kind of married everything for Show Me Design Build.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like these work very well together, and you get to follow your passion to put smiles on kids' faces, but also help families who've been through, obviously, they've got their castle, we call it the castle, right? And they want to get that remodeled before they decide to just walk away or sell it, and you add a tremendous amount more of value to a house.
Sure.
When you do a remodel like this, and it turns into something so beautiful. How much impetus does your husband have on this, where you guys are working together and just kind of the light bulb went on? You're like, there's a bigger need here. Another branch, separate companies, but remodeling, electrical, they work together. Yeah. But where did some of the brainstorming come from?
So I really lead most things with Show Me Design Build. I have a project manager and some other people that obviously offer more of the actual construction expertise, but I run pretty much all day-to-day operations for Show Me Design Build. We do a lot of work with Show Me Electrical Services as a subcontractor, and then we have some other plumbing and HVAC subcontractors, and obviously people that do really good work for us, custom cabinetry, et cetera. But I really run most of the Show Me Design Build projects. I am a WBE, WOSB, so we can do federal and state, and we meet those women-owned business requirements if you have those that you need to check. So it's important that I'm the lead on that.
And you've been running this yourself. Obviously, you're in charge. I was just wondering, how did your husband be like, you need to do this and you need to run it?
Actually, it was quite the opposite.
Oh, really?
I was like, we should do this. And he's like, we don't have time. You're crazy. Because we have two little girls. One just turned 10 and 6, and I have special spaces. And he's like, are you going to be able to do this? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel a calling, and we're going to figure it out. And that's what we did. So, okay. Again, it's advantageous for Show Me Electrical Services, too. They're an exclusive electrician provider. So through this, we've been able to collaborate on a lot of projects. But, being a business owner is tough. It's, ultimately you can surround yourself with expertise and really good people, which we have. But the buck stops at the owner, right? And we're the ones that have to make those tough decisions or make decisions about the future of the company. So, it's been an incredible experience so far. I'm excited to see where Show Me Design Build goes in the future. But, I bet this is my first time really doing this all on my own, and I had to for the WBE requirements and certifications especially. So learned a lot. There's something new to learn every day.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I can speak to that. My mom, she's a go-getter. If you've seen, she's buildings named after her and fun stuff she's done in the community. But yeah, we need all, feedback from all sources of our community. And how often is it that, gosh, I mean, people, and it happens to guys as much as anybody, as women, but I don't know if I can handle it. It's easier to work for somebody else, And for you to start this off and say, I want to do this, and your husband saying, go for it, that's pretty cool that you had the impetus to start this. When was you had that gut feeling? When was it hit you? Was it long before this, or?
It had been brewing in the background. We've actually had the Show Me Design Build LLC since 2018, and I had been kind of thinking about how we could do this. It just so happened that the timing was right before 2024. A close friend of ours who's been in construction management and project management for 40 years was moving back to the St. Louis area looking for opportunity. And, I call it a God thing because it just came together because from there, we actually started business January 1st of 2024, and we've been in business, and we've since hired 2 more full-time employees, an office manager. We're looking at hiring even more people right now. So really excited, like I said. It was a decision that I wouldn't say it was entered into lightly, but I felt a calling and I felt a need, especially for a female leader in the construction space. It's funny, I show up to job sites and they're like, oh, my name Keelyn can be kind of unisex. And they're like, oh, you're Keelyn. And I'm like, yes, I am, and I'm here. I have Tom for some of that toe-to-toe construction expertise. But, I feel very confident in what we're doing, and I feel very confident coming here and speaking to you about our projects and some of the things that we've faced, with home remodels and things going forward, and knowledgeable about the subject. And like I said, learning something new every day.
Yeah, I can tell you're a go-getter. You're going to make this happen. You've been doing very well. Lots of nice things. We did a Google search, and AI now will come back and spit out and say, here's what we found about them, besides the reviews, and kind of a summary, and really nice what they say about you. But it's cool to see, like I said, I come from a family where, like, nothing against my dad. It's just he kind of like, my mom was going and getting it, right? And she really did amazing work. And so it's cool to see somebody like yourself doing the same thing, go out there conquering the world. Kids? You got a 10-year-old daughter?
Yeah, she just turned 10 on Saturday, and then a 6-year-old also who just lost her tooth on Saturday. So we're busy. We got sports. We got all of the things, but I kind of lead life. If not me, then who? Ultimately, I see a lot of opportunity and potential, especially in St. Louis. We have, a lot of really cool companies that we've worked for already to do commercial build-outs. We've had a lot of unique and fun residential projects that we've been able to do, too. And the word of mouth, St. Louis is a small town. I love it. It's the smallest big town you'll ever be in.
Everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody. And that's funny that's coming up right now, because truthfully, your reputation is really important. It is all over the country, but especially in St. Louis, because like we just said, everybody knows somebody who knows somebody. So, we had always prided ourselves on having the best employees and doing the best work. And that's still what we portray on the Show Me Design Build side. We want to make sure, we have customers that are 100% satisfied that we do the work correctly and to their expectations. And, that's where the attention to detail as a female in the construction space has served really well.
Well, I'm excited for you. You're doing great. So what is it about your passion for this that keeps you going every day? Obviously, you've decided to take this on.
Yeah.
Tell me what wakes you up every day that you enjoy what you're doing.
I love these cool projects, these kitchen remodels. We've recently done a couple of under stairs spaces for children with special needs also, outside of the charity, to create more of like calming spaces for neurodivergent children. That's been really fun, helping parents and families find a space. And then I just love bringing people's dreams to life. We meet with people and they're like, I don't know, can you do anything with this? And I'm like, what can't we do with it? We can do so much.
Right.
What's your budget? So I love doing things for people to match their personalities too, because when we meet with people, we're like, hey, what are your dreams for this kitchen? Or what do you want to feel in your basement? Like, what are you going to use this for? And then bringing that vision to life is so, so fun. That's so rewarding to people tell us like kind of an idea and they have no examples, and we literally bring exactly what they were thinking to life.
Well, again, it's so exciting to see somebody like yourself that is so driven to make a difference. And I like the attitude, because so often we have people that they kind of just poke around at life and then they wonder where life went. And you're not that type. You're saying, I got this. We're going to get it done. And let me show you how to run a company that will be a great success, and that's pretty exciting. With that, we've got some community stuff. We had we're working with some kids playing some little baseball down at Busch Stadium. They were going to throw out the first pitch. So with that, we're going to highlight these guys and tell you a little bit about what's going on. Stay tuned.
That one wasn't that long. Hey, like I said, when you get older, you start playing big league ball and traveling on for stuff. It's going to be a lot longer drives. Maybe okay for that? We're going to pay you well. Okay? You ready? All right. So, why did you guys decide to come up and see the Cardinals? Come on up here, let's hear what they say. Why did you decide you want to come see the Cardinals? What's your name first?
Hunter.
Hunter. Why'd you decide to come to see the Cardinals?
Because we're playing a tournament here.
Because you're playing a tournament here. What about you?
They decided to.
They decided to. Why did you decide to come up here? Are you one of the players?
They decided.
He's a bad boy.
He's a bad boy? Okay.
Bad boy.
All right, now we got something else going on kind of exciting here. We're going to work on this a little bit. Who's going to throw out the first pitch today? What's your first name?
Wyatt.
Wyatt? All right, Wyatt. Now let's practice this a little bit. Are you righty or lefty? All right, so give me your form. Are you going to do wind up or are you going to do stretch? All right, so just show me how to do this. How are you going to do it? Right, all right, move over for me right there. You got to hold it. Don't let that throw me.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle show. We air 3 times a week.
Yeah, that's the one we put out there.
Every week on ABC. And we would like to
fill out a form on our
somebody
website?
you know, or maybe it's you who's a business owner to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you, and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. Takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there's no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. So there you have it, and a lot of fun stuff we get to do and partake in the community. With that, though, I always like to get a little cost analysis. And in this space, it's a big deal, because how often is somebody's, well, I can do it for this, and and they don't realize what needs to be spent and where they might be cutting corners. Tell me a little bit about why they should work with you to make sure, because you don't just build, you design too.
Yes.
And that's important, because you just say, here's the thing, throw it up and see what happens. You just waste a lot of money.
Yeah, so remodeling, specifically residential remodeling, which is a lot of our work, can get really tricky. And what I mean by that is, again, I said earlier, you can't see behind walls, and you don't know what other work has been done before you have come there. And I think there's a lot of design work that has to go in, a lot of things that have to be considered, especially in a home that you're remodeling, whether it's a newer home or an existing home. Especially, we've got a lot of remodels and things in older areas. There's a lot that goes into that, and quality is the big thing there. Like, anybody can get something done and make it look okay, right, from the outside. But it's really important that we strive on quality and making sure it's done right. You know, making sure we get the proper permits and that the things are done correctly, so your house doesn't burn down or flood at some point. And so I think we take a lot of that into consideration. You know, I'm never going to be the lowest price. I won't be the highest price, but I'm never going to be the lowest price because I don't sacrifice the quality and the doing things correctly to just beat somebody else's price.
Yeah, how often we talk about it because somebody's giving you the lowest price. There's cutting corners somewhere, right?
Right.
When you're talking about a house, you don't want to cut corners. This is your most valuable asset for most everybody who has a house, and you want to make sure that it gains. And how often are you helping somebody to redesign something or build something new or update something, and now they've added $15,000-$20,000 in value to their home?
For sure. Even more than that. I mean, you brought this up earlier, and I think it's a big, important thing right now. You know, we had a really great surge where interest rates were really low and people were buying new. So if they didn't want to upgrade, they just moved. Well, right now we're seeing quite the opposite. There's nowhere to move. And then if you are looking to move now with interest rates, your house payment is going to be double if you're keeping the same size. So a lot of people are moving to remodeling or adding on to their house or finishing basements to provide more space for their families. And again, there's always somebody out there that can do it really cheap, but are they going to do it correctly? Are they going to do it permitted? Are they going to bring in the electrical subcontractors? The other big thing we're facing too is post-2020, the cost of goods and services has gone up significantly. So people thinking about doing a bathroom 10 years ago, it might have been $10,000. Well, now we're looking at $25,000, and it's not because of my price that's just the average, $25,000 to $35,000 for a master bath remodel if you're doing it correctly with permits, licensed contractor subs, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, you know, tile work. All of that is skilled. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions too in this industry is these are skilled jobs. I mean, anybody can slap up some tile, but if you want it done correctly and it's not going to leak, I mean, you're paying for that. So, and you're paying for licensed subcontractors as well. And the cost of living has gone up, and the cost of those subcontractors has also gone up. We carry insurance, we carry workman's comp, you know, we back our work. So all of that contributes to the rising costs as well.
Is she well spoken or what? I mean, she knows what she's talking about here. I'm just being consulted. I feel like, okay, all right, now I've got a handle on this because you really do understand all of the ins and outs in the background and whatever that goes into these things. And it's important.
Yeah.
You don't want to do these things haphazardly. We can't curse on TV, but
yeah.
You don't want to do them in a way, in a fashion that is not good quality because it will then represent, and then you try to sell your house and now you've got to tear things out and redo things.
That is a big thing that's going on right now too. Depending on where you live, the county is definitely concerned about some of the work going on. And if they see that you've done work and they didn't have the proper permits and inspections for it, they are making people rip them out. Especially when they go to sell something, if it's a recent remodel. They're even looking at Zillow ads, and they're looking at when it was previously sold, or if they see something that looks updated and you didn't pull a permit. I mean, that's a real thing that's happening. I can't tell you how many times we get contacted, especially on the electrical side, like, hey, I have to rip out my whole bathroom because we didn't do it correctly the first time.
Ouch, that could be expensive. Yes, holy cow, yeah. Better to do it right the first time than to do it once and then have to rip it out and do it again. Not cool. Well, give me a little bit. Why should somebody choose you? What really separates you? I think people are kind of getting the gist just there by listening to you. Holy cow, she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
But what does it really separate you? What's the best reason for people to choose you?
I think our attention to detail, for sure. You know, there's a lot of things that can be missed very easily when you are putting something together, when you're trying to build something, especially in the remodeling space, right? We're working with existing ductwork, we're working with existing electrical, we're working with a panel that's already installed. Do we have space in the panel? I think there's a lot of people who just kind of fly blind into it and hope for the best. And those are all things that we consider upfront, and we're honest too. Like, we can do this, but it's going to cost this much, and this is why. I always like to give explanations too, and I pull in, you know, like I said, the experts. If we have to relocate plumbing, concrete, whatever we got to do, we make sure we give the customers the why behind it and why we need to do it this way. I'm never going to do anything that I don't think you need to do, but when we get to certain points in the before we get to certain points in the project, I want you to know fully what to expect and what we're up against and why certain things have to be done.
I give you Keelyn Schwegel. She knows what she's talking about and does great work, and you can tell with great confidence. That just makes me feel at ease. I'm like, man, what projects do I need now? Because I can tell you're really on the ball. You understand the process here for everything that and why somebody should choose you. Easy to find the information. I'll put this on the wall. We'll come back to this, and we're going to have Keelyn stick around for a second show too. But here's the website. Look at some of the work here. Look at that kitchen. Holy cow! And lots of great design here, and lots of great information. But I'd like to show everybody to see the work a little bit too, and you can see some of the work here. You also, I'm going to flip over. I'll go to the wide cam, present on the right wall there, our TV wall where we have her Facebook page. And so you can see here lots of information too, but lots of good pictures as well. Are your photos here?
Yeah.
It's a little different. Are they? You can throw them on Facebook a lot easier these days. Websites you got to log in, upload, put them in there. But these they just post, and then look at some of this great work that has been done here. And holy cow, that's a big slab for a
It is.
center island there, isn't it?
Taj Mahal.
Taj Mahal. But we will go over that in the second show in more depth. Before we do, we've got about 3 minutes left here. And obviously here's where you can just click to schedule a free consultation and fill out the form and get that started. It gives you your hours and everything there too. But do you have any specific certifications or what? Are you working with all the people who have all those too? I would assume your contractors. What are those kind of certifications that you?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So something that was really important to me was to get us fully accredited as a woman-owned business. So we have our WBE, WOSB, SAM registration. We're fully credentialed as a woman-owned business, which is really important. On the commercial side, we do some commercial work, restaurants, nail salons, office space build-outs, and we're hoping to do more commercial work as well. So if you are a business owner, we also offer commercial services, and that's where the woman-owned business comes in and can be really important. There's some minority vendor credentialing, and some companies need them. Obviously, the government, state government, local and state, and federal government needs to fill some of those buckets as well, so we can help there. And then, yes, for all of the other work, we have licensed trades, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, as I said, that we work with. We do everything on the up and up. Everything's contract, we always get the permits and inspections and do everything correct.
Permits, insurance, bonded, all that stuff.
Yes.
Because if you're not on the ball there, then you can cause big problems. We've heard the horror stories of people
For sure.
cut corners and then end up not having something covered, and they had to pay out of pocket, and that can be really expensive when you're doing
100%.
remodeling, obviously. Tell me then a couple of benefits you bring. Number one, I always ask what it's like to work with being a small business. I love my big guys. I'm probably going to upset some of my guys that say, we were going to sponsor you, but then you start talking about how the small guys do better jobs. And it's true. Big guys have their place, smaller guys. But what is it you benefit from being a small business owner, and why being a woman-owned business helps you too?
Yeah, I think there really was a need for a female-led construction company. That's where the attention to detail, and no offense to my men in the audience, but females...
We're guilty. I don't.
Females bring a second level of attention to detail and planning that I think is so crucial in this business. And then I think too, just overall offering, again, that specific attention to detail when we are looking at every part of the project. I forgot your question.
Well, you've covered it. Yeah, we want to know what it is that sets you guys apart, and being a small business owner.
Set apart.
We'll finish that off in the second half hour, though. You've got some great information for everybody. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back. We're going to have Keelyn stick around for a second half hour. All right? Giddy up.